KNUS Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, good Friday morning to you, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show News Talk 710 KNUS. It is August 29th, 2025, and we are kicking it off. A whole lot to talk about. Car Toys filing for bankruptcy. Tie winner, assistant minority leader, is going to join us to talk Jared Polis's budget cuts. Mayor Mike Johnston does an AMA on Reddit, and CJ Garbo heading out of Colorado, along with some other Republicans. They had enough of dealing with this state. Yeah. Does that ring true to you as well?
Yeah, we were just talking yesterday about political messaging for the Republicans, and some of the things we talked about is had enough. Had enough with the leadership of the Democrats. Don't think this is what we had in mind. The idea of had enough, okay, I'm taking my stuff and leaving. Yeah. We were talking about winning. Yeah, he's going the other direction. This will be an interesting conversation. Yeah,
absolutely. And then Jeff Hildebrandt, 710 KNUS Cowboy Poet, is going to join us. And we are heading in to Labor Day weekend. So,
and we are not laboring on Monday, which is nice.
Phone calls already lighting up. All right. Feel free to join the conversation, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Caplis Law text line at 720-819-5115. Now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson,
News and Comment.
Good morning, TGIF. Yes, good morning. 59 and partly cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 80 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, Labor Day travel, shifting gears. AAA says drivers are urged to travel before noon today, early Saturday, and Sunday morning, or before noon on Monday, to avoid the worst traffic. Gas prices are at their lowest levels since 2020. Meanwhile, the TSA expects to screen over 17 million passengers during the holiday weekend. But remember, you don't have to take off your shoes. So that's a good thing. As you go through security, human remains found near Superior have been identified as a man reported missing earlier this year. The family of 34-year-old Paul Aragon said his last contact was in late April. His dog was found inside his truck in Broomfield on May 2nd. You may remember that. And he was then reported missing by his mother on May 8th. Remains found Tuesday near the Flatirons Vista trailhead were identified Thursday as Aragon's. No other information about his death was released. Border Czar Tom Homan says plans are in motion for a major deportation push in Chicago. Homan says officials are discussing using Naval Station Great Lakes near North Chicago to house a large group of ICE agents after Labor Day. He says Chicago is being prioritized due to ongoing crime issues and its status as a sanctuary city. Caroline Levitt on the crime in Chicago, and DJT talking about trying to help them one day.
Governor Pritzker should spend less time demonizing the police, more time trying to recruit more police, and more time trying to call the President of the United States to get crime in his city under control. The President wants to allow law enforcement, whether it's state, local, federal, to do their jobs, to arrest criminals, to put them behind bars, and to remove public safety threats from American communities. He'll continue to do that. Thank you, guys.
Support is pouring in from across the country after the deadly school shooting in Minneapolis left 2 children dead and nearly 20 others injured. But the mainstream media, they continue to ignore the fact that the shooter was trans for the most part, and the drugs he used that may have contributed to the murders. Haven't heard a lot about that. Just about all the people that he hates, including DJT. But initially, they didn't say that. They just said that Trump was on his gun, written on his gun. It's amazing. Mainstream media is a joke. They've ignored that in 4 or 5 similar recent crimes, the whole trans issue. Here's VP JD.
So my final point on this is when I see far-left politicians say, how dare you offer thoughts and prayers, you need action, I don't care about your prayers, I care about what you're going to do to prevent this from happening. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't you pray for the speedy recovery of these kids who literally just got shot yesterday, while at the same time committing to making sure this doesn't happen again or that it happens as infrequently as possible? I don't think there's anything inconsistent about saying a prayer to God for these innocent, beautiful kids, while also thinking constructively about how we're going to prevent this from happening the next time. You can do both of those things. You can hold both of those thoughts in your head at the same time. And Will, if you are a politician or you're a media commentator and 2 beautiful babies just got murdered while praying, and your politics force you to condemn prayer in response to it, you ought to get new politics, because something very wrong has gone on inside your soul.
Jen Psaki and a few other people made a big deal about the praying, and I get it. You get tired of thoughts and prayers, but you know what? Saying that, but you got to keep on praying. Have to keep on praying. It will never end. You've got to keep on praying. New Orleans is marking the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, one of the country's most devastating storms. A wreath-laying ceremony will take place this morning on Canal Street, where a number of unidentified and unclaimed bodies of victims from the storm were laid to rest. A tariff exemption for low-cost goods in the mail from overseas is now over. It's the nearly centuries-old exemption, which allowed items worth less than $800 to be shipped to America duty-free or without having to pay any tariffs. College football for area teams kicked off last night. Wyoming.
Aiden Anderson has played effectively tonight. He threw that bubble screen. That is caught. Head to the house. Touchdown. Chris Durr.
Wyoming goes on to beat the Akron Zips 10-0. Low-scoring game. They do it in the rain, but they win game number 1 last night. Tonight, CU plays host to Georgia Tech. 6 o'clock kickoff from Folsom Field. Tomorrow, CSU at Washington. Bucknell at Air Force on Saturday. 57 in Lone Tree, 56 in Broomfield, 59 in Denver. Jeff and Billy, they are ready for the weekend, and they kick off Friday right now. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Deep moisture remains over the Front Range in eastern Colorado Plains. So for today, we're still going to have a very good chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms, Saturday as well, before things dry out Sunday and Monday. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms, upper 70s and low 80s today. Afternoon and evening thunderstorms Saturday, upper 70s, near 80 and sunny on Sunday, 80s for Labor Day Monday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Bill, we got a report.
I got a traffic report. Listener to the show said you got to be careful if you're hitting westbound 270 today. He said just past Vasquez, some of the concrete is falling off of the bridges and hitting the concrete. There are holes in all the bridges that run after Vasquez along 270, and the problem being the concrete, when it falls down onto the asphalt, you're hitting it with the cars. So there's already a line of cars that are backing up there in the right-hand lane that have flat tires. So if you're doing westbound 270 near Vasquez, stay to the left-hand side, or if you can just simply avoid that area and get around it this morning, it's going to make your commute a heck of a lot easier, but that's going to be a slow portion this morning. But we appreciate the phone call. So westbound 270 at Vasquez, you're looking at concrete falling off of bridges, creating a road hazard, so be careful.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Please be careful out there. Thank you for the report, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Always feel free to do that. If you see something out there, give us a call. We'll put it out.
Absolutely.
All right, headline that was pretty interesting to me because I remember these guys being around forever. Car Toys files for bankruptcy, will close 3 Colorado locations. Remember their jingle? Car Toys, a better way to go. I always thought that was a good jingle.
Oh, it's a great jingle.
It's right up there with the Tree Farm.
Yeah, it is. Yep,
and the Shane Company.
Yep, it is. Oh, yeah, Shane Company. Got to know that. Yeah, the Car Toys jingle is fantastic. And, yeah, they're going away. They're closing all the Colorado stores. Well, they're sold, but, yeah.
Yeah, car audio and electronics store Car Toys has announced it is filing for bankruptcy. This comes from Channel 9. Car Toys operates 47 locations across 4 states, including Colorado. In the company's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, Car Toys says it plans to sell most stores. The stores will be sold to a combination of tenured employees and local competitors. The company has said of the stores, 35 of them will be sold and the remaining locations will close. In Colorado, 6 stores will be sold and 3 locations will close, including the Car Toys store on Broadway in Denver. Car Toys said its location in Colorado Springs North will be purchased by a local competitor, Drive-In Auto Sound. The filings say Car Toys has lost money in each of the past 3 years, hit by shifting consumer demand. The company said it believes this plan will provide jobs for the majority of their employees and keep customer service in its existing markets. For customers with gift cards and Groupons. Wow, Groupon still exists? Huh.
Just barely.
For Car Toys, the company is ending those programs and will no longer be honoring them starting October 18th, 2025. So you got about a month and a half. Under new ownership, some Car Toys branded stores may continue to honor gift cards and Groupons after the deadline per their policies, the company said, but I wouldn't risk it. So, Bill, why do you think this happened?
Again, what they talked about is shifting customer demand, but if you think about it, now, people aren't going to like this morning, but despite recent claims by our president, people are not ripping off car doors in order to get to radios. People aren't doing that. And they're also not ripping off trunks, which was a weird one. But that's the thing, is that you don't have to break in to get the most valuable things out of the car anymore. Sure, if you want to leave your purse, your backpack, stuff like that in there, because the backpack, there may be a laptop or something. Yeah, that is still attractive in there if your car is cluttered. But if the thieves are going to hit you, they're going to focus right now on 3 basic things. First is catalytic converter. Second are your wheels. If you've upgraded, you've spent time there, because you can normally get to wheels, and sometimes the car alarm doesn't even go off. You can also do some things as far as making sure that you can get those with. Once you have a cordless impact driver, you can yank wheels with a good team in a couple of minutes and get them in the back of the car before any police would ever be there. The other thing are pickup truck tailgates, but you're not ripping those off because you want to resell those. So you take them off so they are in as pristine condition as possible. You're not ripping off any trunk or ripping off any tailgate. But those are the 3 hottest things right now: catalytic converters, wheels and tires, and tailgates. That's it. Nobody cares about the radio, because if you think about it, we don't really upgrade to aftermarket radios like we did in the past.
That was what I think the big issue is, because if any of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s, you always had the buddy in high school that had the really cool, digital
Oh, yeah.
CD display thing, and he'd have to take it off and take it with him when he went inside.
Oh, well, man, okay, we went from the idea of sliding out the entire console piece of the radio. So you had they had bags that you would put it in that Pioneer and Alpine made. So it was like a little radio purse that you'd carry with you. And then you went so far as to remove the faceplate. And then the thing was just to yank the faceplate off. It was a big deal in my house when my father went and upgraded the radio in one of our cars and had the faceplate remover thingy because he was worried about the car's radio getting stolen. That's decades ago. And then you got some car radios that were stock that were as good as what you could do aftermarket. And the stock radios are important because 9 times out of 10, they are basically, way to put it is they have a chip inside of them and they're tuned to talk to the car. So if you take them out and put them in another car, 9 times out of 10, they won't work. So that's a problem. And what you can do to upgrade your car stereo, also from the factory, is incredible. The example that I've got, and my wife's car is 10 years old, so it's nothing new. It is a 10-year-old used car. We bought it used. The person that purchased it new did the stereo upgrade. And oh, do I love them. If I knew them, I would send them a Christmas card because this is a Harman Kardon stereo. It is the best audio system we've ever had in any vehicle. Now, I am not going to rival those kids that pull up next to you at the stoplight. It's like boom, 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 boom next to you. You can hear that bass. Yeah, and it doesn't do that, but oh my goodness. Is the sound clear? It is encompassing. It comes from everywhere, and it's as loud as you want it to be. Again, I'm not challenging those kids with the big giant stereos. This thing is sweet, and it's factory installed.
Isn't it interesting, though, that with all the upgrades you could do, so we're talking stereos, but what about remote starters?
Yeah.
Heated steering wheels.
Yep. Remote starters is one of the big things.
Yeah,
that's about all the cars.
oriented chairs. Like there's so many things you could do these days that we didn't do at all when I drove around my 1982 Nissan Datsun pickup truck.
No, not at all. I still remember when I had to explain to my parents. Let's just say that there was okay, this is not surprising that sometimes I am wired to ask for forgiveness rather than permission. Well, I took the money from a job and I went and it wasn't, I don't think it was a Car Toys, but at the time I was driving a Volvo station wagon. And so I paid to get the upgraded stereo, to have them put amps underneath both sides of the back seat. And then I bought a 6x9 speaker box that they custom installed in the back of the tailgate. Now, the issue was it had to be removable because I knew this car still had to haul stuff up and down the mountains and other places, so it had to be removable. They did that for me. I paid for it, and it was amazing. And my dad was like, "You did what? You did what to the car?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did, but here, come listen to it." And he's like, "Sounds pretty good, but I can't believe you did this." I was in trouble because they didn't ask. But that's as far as I went, and that was a Car Toys-esque type store. We don't do that anymore. My son wanted to upgrade his radio in his car one car ago, his original car, and that would have been almost 7 years ago. And because it was an old factory Honda, and he went and he got it, and it was way too busy for what, it was an infotainment system, and I guess those can still be stolen. It had a pull-out movie screen so you could watch movies inside of the car.
Yeah,
and
my ride.
The other part is came with a remote control. I'm like, for what? Like, front seat, back seat? How big is the car? Why do I need a remote? Okay, I can understand a remote in a minivan, but 4-seater? I'm like, for what? Who needs the remote? It was silly. But
don't you find it interesting? I mean, we went through the whole Pimp My Ride.
Yes.
Where they were putting hot tubs in cars and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, they just pushed it to such a level. And then this generation's just kind of like, Apple Play's good enough.
Yeah, Apple Play's good enough. That's the thing is with my younger two, when they're starting to drive, their big question is, can it connect to my phone?
Yeah.
They have zero concern about the stereo.
Yeah.
They also have zero concern about the speakers, which I'm like, okay, fine. That was a big thing when we were kids. Zero concern about the speakers. They just want to make sure that the radio connects to their Bluetooth.
Right.
Yeah, the radio could be a Kmart Blue Light Special, but as long as they can get Apple CarPlay, they can connect to Bluetooth, they're fine. They're fine with it, which is a real change given where we came from. But that's the end of Car Toys. And you're right. Once we didn't have to install aftermarket radios, once you didn't have to install alarm systems, the only thing you're left with are those remote starters. Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Car Toys filing for bankruptcy. We'll close 3 Colorado locations. We'll sell the rest of the 6 to competitors.
Did you ever upgrade your car stereo ever
No.
in the newer cars? No, never did. Probably smart.
To give you a sense of what it was like driving around with me in my first car, which I mentioned was a 1982 Datsun silver pickup truck.
Nice.
I would take it to Loveland. It was a 4-cylinder. So I was in the right lane with the flashers while everybody passed me on the way up to Loveland.
Yeah.
And then I kicked off the driver's side speaker putting on my ski boot one time.
Oh, no way.
You know where it slips out of your hands? Your truck kicked it right off. So it was a tape deck
that
you had to put the cassette in that would connect to the CD player, remember?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Right?
they had the wire out of it. Yes. You
Yes,
put it
the
in the front,
wire.
and the wire
The
that comes
wire
out.
came
Yes,
out
I
of it.
remember that.
And the only speaker, I had one speaker that worked, and it was on the other side because I had kicked off the speaker on
Jeff's
the
rocking
driver's
mono.
side.
When he's doing his road trip up to Loveland, he's rocking a mono
And then
stereo.
I always loved.
Oh my God.
I hope my kids aren't listening.
No, let's do this.
I always loved that how everyone's concerned about distracted driving these days.
Oh,
okay, I had the tape with the wire that came out, and you'd be driving stick shift.
Yes.
With the big. Huge thing of CDs,
yes, the big
that you would flip through.
Yes,
to get. Meanwhile, there's like a cigarette hanging out of my mouth.
Oh yeah,
I'm 16 years old.
You're looking cool.
And now we're
you got a
concerned
reputation to
about
protect. Yes.
now we're concerned about distracted driving.
Oh, I know.
And that was all done on a stick shift.
Yes, that's the thing for me is that the number of things that I did with a stick shift that you're like talking about distracted driving. Like I'm a pro. I mean, we had to multitask. Not only did we have to figure out what gear we were in, we had to manage that. You had to figure out could you drive with your knees and hold still at the same time you're flipping through that big book to find the CDs because again now you knew what order they were in but you had to find the right page so you were looking at it and then you're choosing and sometimes you're like do I really want to do maybe it's this and you had to make choices. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You had wires everywhere.
Yes, all over the place.
Goodness,
I know.
Yeah, well, but it's the end of a chapter.
It is.
Car Toys filing for bankruptcy.
Yeah, this is one of those moments when you talk about the last Blockbuster closing. This is one of those moments where what we're doing is our consumer behavior has changed to a point where they have been left behind.
We will never go back.
No, they've been left behind. Nothing we can do.
Do you see they have Blockbuster scented candles now?
Yes, I saw that. I was talking to Adam, our video guy. He's okay. Props to Adam. He's doing a Rockies auto hat today. You and I both commented that. We're like, Rockies? Thinking about, companies that his time is past. Everybody that's old G here in Colorado understands the name Rockies. He and I were talking about how wonderful it would be if you ran across a Blockbuster uniform at a Goodwill or something. You're like, you have to buy that. You have to buy a Blockbuster uniform shirt if you find it just because of that. Yeah.
Things moving on. Car Toys filing for bankruptcy will close 3 Colorado locations. The big news in this is if you have a gift card, you have till October 18th.
Yes, and if you have a Groupon, you got to use that too. And if you have a Groupon, how the hell are you doing that?
Yeah, right.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I mean, you got to teach me something here. I didn't know that still existed.
Well, let's talk Dan Caplis with Dan Caplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everybody involved in the case. Dan Caplis is the son of a police officer and a former seminarian who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Caplis Law, the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law is a serious firm for serious cases. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call. Here's the phone number, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S Law.com. Text messages coming in. Janet, my first car was a 1967 Kawasaki 120 that I used to run around Los Angeles. Shortly after buying it, the electrical system went out and had to run next to it and jump onto it and kick it into gear, and that was how we started it.
Oh, I bet that would have been awesome. There was a dirt bike on my friend's farm, and that's how we had to start it. So I know that little jog, that plunk, and then you jump on top of it. Yeah, I know that feeling. I know that feeling, Janet. But you did it on a much cooler bike in a much cooler setting than me in a field. Yeah. Oh, I'm jealous of that. That is so cool.
Doug's saying he's driving through the mountains, listening to us over the phone. That's another thing, too, is like people run their podcasts, their Pandora, everything's through your phone.
Yeah, and the other part is audiobooks. And I was telling Doug that it was a life changer for me years ago when the kids were small, when we got satellite radio into the minivan, because then on long road trips, we could stick with one radio station. And there were a couple of kid-friendly stations that were on satellite radio, Disney Radio being one of them. And so we could pick something that was at least family-friendly that we would be able to do on those long road trips going over several states. So that was a game changer for me. And I know it was a game changer for many over-the-road truckers and long-distance drivers. Yeah.
All changing.
Yeah,
all right,
all
let's
changing.
talk. Speaking of change, let's talk advanced hair restoration. Everyone always asks, what makes advanced hair restoration different? Allow me to share, along with some details on, and get this, their once-a-year summer savings event. It's wrapping up this weekend, guys. You got to take advantage of it. First off, Advanced Hair stands by the results. Their before and afters are second to none. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair is guaranteed to grow. Secondly, Advanced Hair combines top-rated physicians with modern technology, creating a concierge quality experience that's hard to find elsewhere. And lastly, Advanced Hair's Advanced FUE begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day. It's quick, it's simple, and it's easy. Now, if you have a flexible schedule this summer and you've been waiting for that special savings opportunity, well, it's here. Advanced Hair's summer savings event will get you the most hair for your dollar. It's their best offer ever. So for details and to schedule your free consultation, give them a call at 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment. Life-changing results. Your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Before and afters at advancedhair.com. That phone number again, 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. Advancedhair.com. We'll continue with your phone calls and text. Plus, Trump administration coming down on Denver Public Schools regarding their all-gender restrooms. We'll talk that next. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Denver Public Schools. All gender restroom violates civil rights law, says Trump administration. This coming from the Denver Gazette. The Trump administration's Education Department on Thursday concluded that DPS violated a federal civil rights law by converting a girls' restroom at its flagship high school campus into an all-gender facility. That bathroom's conversion, along with permitting students at East High School to use facilities on the basis of gender identity rather than their biological sex, violated Title IX's prohibition against sex discrimination, the U.S. Department of Education alleged. As a result, the district is creating a hostile environment for its students by endangering their safety, privacy, and dignity while denying them access to equal educational activities and opportunities, Acting Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights Craig Traynor said in a statement. Traynor added, Denver is free to endorse a self-defeating gender ideology, but it is not free to accept federal taxpayer funds and harm its students in violation of Title IX. DPS officials said they received the findings from the Education Department's Office for Civil Rights and are determining the district's next steps. The Civil Rights Office proposed a resolution to Denver Public Schools and gave the district two choices: agree to making several changes or risk imminent enforcement action. The office told the district it has 10 days to give a response. The resolution requires the school district to convert and redesignate all stalls for use by both sexes back to sex-designated restrooms, rescind its policies or guidance allowing students to access restrooms based on gender identity and not biological sex, and adopt biology-based definitions for the words male and female in all policies and practices related to Title IX. The federal office said the district should also reiterate that schools must provide intimate facilities that protect the privacy, dignity, and safety of students that are comparably accessible to each sex, and that Title IX compliance ensures female students may not be discriminated against in any educational program or activity. The Civil Rights Office said DPS violated the law by placing the burden only on females to seek an exclusive restroom elsewhere, thereby denying their right to equal educational facilities and opportunities. So they took one bathroom and converted that bathroom into all gender. That bathroom that they converted was a female restroom. They didn't convert the males. They converted the females to all gender. And by allowing people to use the bathroom based upon their gender identity, they're violating Title IX. Bill, do you agree with this assessment?
Yes and no. I disagree with some of what President Trump's administration is saying about it. And I do agree that there should be a bathroom available for people that are transgender. However, I do also agree that Denver Public Schools screwed this up. That whoever was in the planning meeting about this, you're stupid. You're absolutely obtuse as to the challenges that you created based on this choice. And I'm pretty certain, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty certain why this choice was made there. And this is why I will outline why I feel the choice was made, which also will prove why it is phenomenally stupid. Why someone with a little more reasonable brain should have been included in this planning meeting. And let's walk through it. They're looking for a transgender bathroom. Again, I don't know the percentage of students, but for me, that would play into the how, where, and why we'd be looking at, because that will change. If we have a large number of trans students, that's a different bathroom need than if we have 3. So that's the premise that we're starting with. Next, it is going to be less expensive and feasibly easier to transition a woman's bathroom, simply because larger stalls, larger space, things like that. And based on being transgender, you probably don't need the urinals on one way or the other. So I understand the reasoning behind it. However, any of us any of us listening to the Jeff and Bill show, any of us hosting the Jeff and Bill show, any of us that have gone to a sporting event, a fair, a concert, a theater, all of us, based on our real world experience, understand where the line is at the restroom. All of us have experienced which line moves quicker than the other. So putting more foot traffic into a female restroom is stupid. That is dumb. The other thing that is dumb is taking away the other access to any other female restroom. My understanding is this is maybe the only or one of two on the entire floor. That's not okay. You can't restrict their access to a single-sex bathroom in order to convert yours, in my opinion. I think they did this based on it was the path of least resistance for the money, but it was the stupidest thing in the world. If you were going to try and convert an existing bathroom, you go after the dude's bathroom. That's the one you do based on foot traffic. Also, you probably end up with it smelling better. Just saying, the difference between the men's bathroom and the ladies' bathroom. I'm just saying, this was done stupidly. Now, before anybody gets all upset about the idea of a unisex bathroom, before you get upset about that, tell me where your male and female bathrooms are in your own house. In our own houses, we have unisex bathrooms. We are okay with unisex bathrooms, but it's the execution that is the problem with the school district. You do not take away one of the female bathrooms, especially if it's the only or one of two on the floor. That is stupid. That is harming the existing population, and I have a hard time thinking that the trans community is large enough inside of the Denver Public School in order to mandate this type of change, that we would have to take over a female restroom. But that's my opinion.
The office said its investigation showed the district received several complaints, including from a female student. That student reported that when her friend used the restroom, boys kept staring at her, looking her up and down, kind of taunting her. Student also said she was very uncomfortable with boys being together in the same bathrooms as girls. The office quoted the student as saying. The office also cited another complaint who said the female students are very uncomfortable with a male teacher going in frequently to the restroom to check on things. Should be a female teacher. While the district maintained it does not have a policy regarding the assignment of restrooms based on sex, the Civil Rights Office said the Denver Public Schools LGBTQ plus toolkit said transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming students have the right to use facilities that match their gender as consistently expressed at school. Bill, on that issue, do you think somebody should be allowed to use the restroom based upon their gender identity?
Here's the thing. If they are in public presenting as female, yes. And if they're in public presenting as male, yes. Yes, I do. And that's part of why I think that the high school failed at this, is they made it okay for both sexes, rather than saying, if you identify as a trans female, it's okay for you to use the female bathroom. If you identify as trans male, okay for you to use a male bathroom. What they did is they wanted to intermix both and make it okay for someone that is self-identifying as a male to walk into a bathroom that had a bunch of people that are identifying as females. No. Other than a really, really busy club at about 12:30 in the morning because you've been drinking all night and you got to run into one restroom or the other, okay, that's about the only time. Or when the line at the Bronco Stadium is really, really long. We all been there. If your line's really long, you want to squeeze in over here to the guys, go right ahead. We will protect you, but careful because we're a little messy. Same thing. I'm okay with that. But this designation, I disagree with. And I think the idea of saying that it was this gender-neutral bathroom is a mistake based on the population inside of the schools. Yes.
Yeah. The high school kids is one thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Come on. But, Bill, if a guy is identifying as a woman and you allow that person to go into a girl's restroom, you're allowing boys into girls' restrooms.
Here's the thing, though, is that you and I are going to differ on the definition of boy, and that's the issue. And so the other part that I'm going to be completely and totally honest on this one is that this is my feeling. I don't have a problem with it. However, I'm not in that bathroom. and I am going to default to what the ladies want. If they don't want a transgender female in there, I will respect their wishes. And the core of it is this. Understand, it is not the ladies being worried about a transgender female in there. They're worried about a biological male. So understand that the reason the women are upset is not because of a bunch of trans people, but because of a bunch of straight dudes. What us straight men do, that's why they're worried, because of our actions. So before we start castigating the behaviors of the trans community, understand that is not at the core why the ladies are upset and worried and fear for their safety. They fear for their safety because of the behavior of the straight men, the guys that walk around and say, I'm a dude. That's the portion of the population.
I disagree. I think, yeah,
Okay.
I disagree because that's a distinction without a difference. At the end of the day, what they're concerned about is a dude. Whether or not they're trans or straight or whatever, it's a dude. Oftentimes fully intact, a lot stronger, violating the privacy of the women.
Which cohort has been most responsible for that behavior? The trans community or the straight community?
Doesn't matter. It's a distinction without a difference.
No,
it's
it is a distinction.
Dude.
No.
It is a dude.
Jeff, it is a distinction.
Has something
Jeff,
between his legs.
no,
He's bigger and
no.
stronger.
Here's the
Doesn't
point.
matter
It's
if
a
you're
distinction.
trans or not trans.
Yes, it is.
It's a dude.
Yes, it is, because most rapes and assaults are committed by straight dudes, not trans people. That's the issue. So at the core, they're mad about biology, not about the person being trans. They're mad at the behavior of what straight males do.
It is biology. It's
that they're
just
mad
a
about
dude.
the behavior of.
It's a man in the women's restroom.
But they're not mad because transgender women have come in there and molested them. They're mad because the molestation and the rape taking place outside of the bathrooms by the straight men. That's it. There's nothing preventing a straight man from entering the women's restroom right now and assaulting them. It is the assaults that take place outside of that bathroom that create the fear. That's the core of the fear. And as long as we stand here and say, well, it's the trans people's fault, you're ignoring the causation.
No,
it is
I've
the
never
causation
said that.
is the male biology. It's us.
Yes,
it is us.
it is.
Yes.
Bill, you got it. It is the male biology.
That we're the problem. Yes, that is it.
Is
We're the problem.
A biological issue. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. Give us a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law Text line, 720-819-5115. Let's talk Guy Rees real quick here. We went over to Guy Rees and Parker, and man, this has been a great experience for us, because anytime we've done home improvement prior to this, there were like two options out there. One, wander around a big box store with just the hopes that you'd figure it out eventually, but you're probably going to have to make a lot of mistakes before you do. Or secondly, you hire really expensive designers to come in and change everything, which we don't have the budget to do. Guy Rees is the perfect third option. Personal attention, professional designers on everything, including Hunter Douglas custom blinds, shades, and shutters, and all of it at a reasonable price. It's absolutely a fantastic experience. And what's best is they come out to your house to measure everything. So you get like laser perfect blinds. Plus, they'll test the samples, paint samples, all that. You can see what it's going to look like in your home. Great experience with our friend Crystal, the professional designer at Guy Rees in Parker. They've got locations all throughout Denver. You got to check them out. Get personalized in-home consultation, expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. And guys, your wife will love having somebody that can answer all their questions. Right? My wife has a lot of questions about blinds, about remote control blinds, all that stuff. I didn't know I couldn't answer that stuff. So to have somebody that is an expert in that, think through all the creative options with her was very, very cool. GuyRees.com, GUIRYS.com, GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Guy Rees. You'll be sure to thank me. And we'll continue. We got You Choose the News coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. It's what you all look forward to on Fridays. A little You Choose the News Loser Edition.
Yes, it is that moment in Friday where we bring back the loser stories. Those stories that Jeff and Blake did not deem worthy of our attention. The Loser Edition of You Choose the News.
You are one pathetic loser.
Loser!
Let's go. Loser! You're a loser!
The Losers Club.
Bunch of losers.
You're such a loser.
You made me feel like a loser!
She's a loser.
You are such a loser.
Yes, these stories were skipped over by both Blake and Jeff earlier this week. We brought them back for a second shot at glory. You know how this works. Silly story is found on the interwebs. Dumb headlines given by me so we can play this fake radio show game because those in charge do not wake up until 7 o'clock. So we're going to take full advantage of being left unsupervised. As always, Blake Olson in the newsroom, Jeff Hunt in the studio. Gentlemen, here are our choices this morning. Headline number 1, taking away the power. Headline number 2, psst, I need a favor. Headline number 3, surprise, baby. And headline number 4, new sporting trend. Mr. Hunt.
New sporting trend.
New sporting trend. Oh, I was afraid of this one. Alrighty, this is the landmine we have this morning. Alrighty, here we find ourselves in Nashville. Now, a couple of weeks ago here on the Jeff and Bill Show, Blake, Jeff, and I discussed a new sporting trend in the WNBA. Yes, fans were throwing phallic images and toys onto the courts. Well, it's branching out now. Yes. Recently, during the final Tennessee Titans preseason game, a neon green toy landed near the 6-yard line with about 5 minutes left to go in the win over the Minnesota Vikings. The teams are on the field.
They're now
Titans
throwing
on
them
offense.
on football games?
Yep, during football games. They're now, neon green phalluses that they're throwing onto the fields now. That was thrown during the Tennessee Titans game at the NBA. And not, again, we were like,
there's so many
WNBA.
creative things you could throw. I like when they throw the octopus or the squid.
Yeah.
One of those.
Yeah.
Those are kind of cool. Teddy bears.
Yeah.
They throw teddy bears?
Yeah, they throw teddy bears, yeah. But the idea is, what I thought was interesting is that it bled over.
Yeah,
it
now
went from the
it's into
WNBA
the male.
into the NFL. Yeah, in the NFL. You're like, okay, that's interesting.
I think that should be exclusive to the WNBA.
All right. On that note, Blake's going to choose the next story. Taking away the power. Psst, I need a favor or a surprise, baby.
Psst, I need a favor.
Hey, psst. Hey, I need a favor. Could just come over here. Just help me out here. I just need a favor. Be a friend. We find ourselves in North Liberty, Iowa, and we meet 34-year-old Kristen State. And now she contacted the North Liberty Police Department early in the morning at the local Quick Star because she was trying to make some friends. She was asking people to do her a favor. She was asking random strangers to blow into her interlock device for her car so that she could drive because she was a little drinky. Yes, she has been caught numerous times driving all drunk, 3 times within the past 12 years just alone. So they put one of those, blow into this hose thing on her car. Well, she decided, I know how to beat this one. So she drove herself to the Quick Stop. And then in order to get home, or the Quick Star, well, she had a friend at this house blow in there. So at the Quick Star, she's asking random people to blow into it so she can drive back home. They did call the police when they showed up. They talked to Kristen. She did fail the roadside sobriety test. And when they had her blow into their blood alcohol straw, she was at a .351.
Jeez.
Yeah. So she really did have her drink on. So, yeah. I still love the idea of...
Maybe don't be the person that does that.
I know, but the idea of... think about... You're at like the 7-Eleven or you're the Circle K, and they're like, hey, can you come blow in this thing so I can drive my car? And you're like...
Exactly.
Am I an accessory at this point?
Yeah, exactly.
You can't do this.
You should be charged as an accessory.
Yes, you obviously can't do this yourself, so why am
Absolutely.
I... Yeah, don't bring me into this mess. That's just... Okay.
Jeez.
Okay, final choice.
What if they ate onions right beforehand?
I know. That's jeez. Okay, here we go. Now, Jeff, taking away the power or a surprise, baby?
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise, baby. Here we find ourselves in Singapore. A 49-year-old man has been married 15 years secretly to his younger colleague, and he has committed bigamy. That's a criminal offense in Singapore. How in the heck did he get busted? Well, all has to do with a surprise baby. Yes, as in the other woman was having a baby. Yes, they finally had copulated enough to where they were bringing another new life into the world, and he got busted while he was visiting that second wife, seeing the brand newborn. Odd thing is, she gave birth at the hospital where the first wife works.
Ooh,
yes.
Right out of a Maury Povich show.
First wife works at the hospital where he has the second wife come to have the baby.
Wow.
Really? That's great planning. She saw him and then followed him and saw him go into the maternity ward that is access only for parents. That's when she started asking questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an employee at the hospital, and she was able to figure out, seems like there's another baby here. So, yeah, he's now been picked up on charges of bigamy. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah, he originally married his first wife in 2007. She's now age 55. He found a younger woman, now 43, and they started dating and then married in 2011. And again, no, you can't be married to two women in Singapore at the same time.
Do you get caned?
I wonder. But they let the first wife swing it, which is going to be even worse pain. That's what they need. All right, that's the end of You Choose the News. Back to you, Jeff.
Gosh, that would solve a lot, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
I've got a pastor friend up in Minnesota, was there moments after the shooting took place at the Annunciation Catholic Church. We're going to talk with him and Ty Winner. Next hour, big hour, coming up. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is News Talk 710 KNUS.